الحج أشهر معلومات فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. أما بعد, inshallah, this is the third of the series of program, how the Hajj and Umrah should be performed. What we have done so far is discuss all the rules and regulation as prerequisite to the Hajj and Umrah, and then the actual rites of Hajj and Umrah. And we have reached, last week I covered the issue of how the tawaf should be performed. So inshallah we go further from the tawaf, that once the tawaf is performed, then the next thing one does is the sa'i between the Safa and Al-Marwa. Before we go to the actual sa'i, I want to just give a very quick overview of what is done after entering the Masjid al-Haram. So if we look at a diagram of the Masjid al-Haram itself, this is an aerial view of the Masjid al-Haram. This is how it is geographically oriented if we look at the globe, as I've shown it before. The center of it is, let's have a close-up look, and you can see that the Kaaba in the middle. You start the tawaf from the Hajar Aswad, where the red dot has appeared, and this is you doing the tawaf. The tawaf is, once the tawaf is completed, then you head towards As-Safa, which is, that is where As-Safa is. And this long track which you are seeing from As-Safa leading, you will see that the sa'i is done in this corridor. And this is the track, okay. So this is the sa'i done in this corridor. This corridor is not part of the Masjid al-Haram. So this is why the women who are in their menses, they can enter there and do the sa'i if they have to in certain situation, but they cannot go into the masjid, and this is why the tawaf is exempted, and all the other rites can be done, including the sa'i, because the sa'i corridor, which is called mas'a, is outside the area of the Masjid al-Haram. So you go up from As-Safa towards Al-Marwa, and then you come back in that way to As-Safa. Going from As-Safa to Al-Marwa is one sa'i, and coming back is another one. It's different from the tawaf around the Kaaba, that you have to complete a circuit to be called one tawaf. Here is going is one, and coming back is another one. So this is the sa'i corridor. If we look in the real life picture, it's like this. You can see in the middle are two tracks for the wheelchair, and on the sides are the space for the people walking. We are looking into the corridor from standing at the As-Safa end, looking towards Al-Marwa end. The upper floor is like this. In fact, now there are more floors to it. So we look at in a diagrammatic form to understand how the sa'i is done. This is the As-Safa end, that's Al-Marwa. That's the wheelchair track in the middle, connecting the two. That's one. There are two green light posts, one close to As-Safa and another one a little further. Both are in fact closer to As-Safa than Al-Marwa. In between these two is the area of Ramal. Okay, so when a person walks from As-Safa to Al-Marwa and back, when he reaches one green light post, he starts walking faster, and then at the second green light post he would slow down, and this is what is called Ramal. Ramal is a sunnah, it's not obligatory, but it is known from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reported by Ibn Majah, that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that no one should pass the river bed, except with vigor. So he meant that, and this is because As-Safa was a small part of a mountain, and Al-Marwa was also a part of the mountain, and between the two was a river bed, and this was the area, and this is the area of Ramal where we walk faster. So you enter from the red dot represents a pilgrim. You enter from As-Safa end. This is where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam entered, and he recited, "Inna as-Safa wal Marwata min sha'airillah." That indeed the As-Safa and Marwa are the signs, symbols of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, we began as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began with what? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala began with As-Safa. Inna as-Safa wal Marwa. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned As-Safa first, then Al-Marwa. So this is why the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to As-Safa, and he started the sa'i from there. And of course it is also closer to Kaaba. When you finish the tawaf, come to in a position to Hajar Aswad, then it is closer. From there you walk towards As-Safa and you start there. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is what he recited, and he approached the slope of As-Safa. Now there is no hill over there, there is no mountain there, it's just an uphill slope made on both ends in the corridor. So you climb up there. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam climbed that, and then he turned around and faced the Qibla, and this is the direction of the Qibla. What you are seeing there is, this is the direction towards which the Kaaba is. And once he stood and faced the Kaaba, then he recited these words, and these are the words everybody who's going for Hajj and Umrah should memorize. La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulku wa lahul hamdu wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. La ilaha illallah wahda anjaza wa'da wa nasara abda wa hazama al-ahzaba wahda. And these are the words the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam recited. Then he raised his both hands and he made the dua. He made a long dua. Then he recited these words again. Then again he made a long dua. Then he recited these words the third time. And then after that he again made a long dua before he stepped down from there and head towards Al-Marwa. So once you finish doing that, so you do 3 times these, and in between you make the dua. Once you finish, then you leave for Al-Marwa. So having done that, then now you are heading towards Al-Marwa. If you see that that you reach there. Once you reach there, you do exactly the same thing what you did at As-Safa, that you stand, go up the slope, you turn and you face towards the Qibla, and you make the dua, reciting those words 3 times and making the dua in between, raising the hands. Raising the hands here, facing the Qibla, these are all from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in this way, now you have done 2 of the trip of sa'i. In this way you do the 3rd one, and then the 4th one, the 5th, the 6th, and the 7th. Okay, so in this way you complete the 7 trips. So you started at As-Safa and you end up at Al-Marwa. Once you have finished that, again you face the Qibla, raising your hands, making the dua. You finish the dua and then you leave from the Al-Marwa end. Now a couple of rules I want to mention. What you are seeing there, the number 1 is that it is important to cover the full distance between As-Safa and Al-Marwa. Leaving any part of that invalidates the sa'i. And of course the sa'i is the obligatory part, is a pillar of both Hajj and Umrah. Second is that a woman should not try to go uphill, because doing that can have negative repercussions. She may be pushed and she may come in bodily contact with the men, which is not permissible, so she should avoid that. Some people are very aggressive in this. They will push and shove, and even the women will run, and this is not. Same issue is involved with the ramal, that the ramal is, as I said before, is not obligatory, rather this is a sunnah of the tawaf, especially if there is a man and a woman together, and of course the woman has to have a mahram with her. If the man walks faster and the woman gets behind, then this is not appropriate. In that case, he can walk with her and not do the ramal. This will not have any effect on the validity of her sa'i. So in this way, then you leave the sa'i corridor, and next thing you do is the shaving or the trimming of the head. If a person is doing Hajj Tamattu, then he should trim the head rather than shaving the head. If you go for an Umrah in other times and you shave the head, then that is better. But in case of the Hajj Tamattu, doing the trimming of the head is more preferable, because, and this is an issue where the scholars argued when, because we know from the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam about the Hajj, he said that rahimullahu al-muhalliqin, and people said, Ya Rasulullah, what about muqassirin? And he kept on repeating until he added muqassirin as well. So he said that may Allah have mercy on those who shave their head. And people said, what about those who trim their head? So here the issue is that after the Umrah, whether it is the shaving or the trimming of the hair, which is preferable or more rewarding. And the answer to that is what is stated in the narrations from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he ordered them that go around the Kaaba, meaning do the tawaf, do the sa'i, and then trim your hair, he said. He did not say to shave their heads. And this is also proven from the narrations of Jabir radiallahu anhu, which you saw on the slide, where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Jabir radiallahu anhu, he, in his words, he said that فَحَلَّ النَّاسُ كُلُّهُمْ وَقَصَّرُوا إِلَّا النَّبِيَّ صلى الله عليه وسلم وَمَنْ كَانَ مَعَهُ هَدْيٌ, that all the people, they trimmed their head. He didn't say that they shaved their head, rather he said they trimmed their hair, except Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and anyone who had the hadi with him. Because the one who had the hadi, like Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they did the Qiran Hajj, they did not exited their ihram after the Umrah. So the word qassaru, which is used here, qassaru, the meaning to trim the hair, and this is what was done in after the Umrah. So this is why the scholars, they said that it is preferable that we trim the hair after the Umrah rather than shaving the head. It is also logical, because if you shave the head after the Umrah in the Hajj Tamattu, then you will have no hair left for shaving again after the Hajj, because it's only few days after the Umrah. So inshallah, this is the the end of the Umrah. Once you have done that, then you finish the Umrah. One other rule about the trimming or the shaving of the head, that this should be done to the whole head, because often what people do is that they will take a little bit of hair from the right side, little bit on the left side, and a few from the back, and they think that this is the taqsir. Rather, this is not proper, and it does not fulfill the obligation. So it must be done to the whole head, whether it's trimming or the shaving. For the women, they just have to gather their hair all in their hand, and then they take a finger tip length of the hair from the end of their hair. So what they have to do is gather all their hair in both hands, bring them right to the end, and then take a little bit from the end. What the scholars say, that a fingertip length. Once you have done that, what you, as I said, that the Umrah is complete. and you exit the ihram and you wait for the Yawm al-Tarwiyah, which is the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, which is when the Hajj starts. Okay, so those who are performing the Hajj Tamattu, their Umrah is over. Now they will wait for the Hajj. Okay, so we go to Hajj inshallah now. The Hajj, as I said, that it starts on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. This is really, the whole text is not being shown on the I hope that you can see that the 8th of Dhul Hijjah is the day of Tarwiyah. Day of Tarwiyah is when you begin the Hajj, the rites of Hajj, and this is proven from the hadith of Jabir radiallahu anhu and others, that they mention the 8th of Dhul Hijjah. Jabir radiallahu anhu, he said that when the Yawm al-Tarwiyah came, then people faced the Mina and they started the Talbiyah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also rode out, calling out the Talbiyah. And of course, as I said before, that this is the time when you call out for the Hajj, saying Allahumma labbaik hajja. You do exactly the same things as you did before the Umrah. So taking a bath, putting perfume on, preparing yourself, cleaning yourself, putting the ihram garment on, preferably after the obligatory prayer with Salatul Fajr, you make the niyyah of the Hajj. Once the sun rises, then you leave your place to go to Mina, and the sunnah is that you board the transport. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would usually board his mount, and then he would ride a little bit, stop, and then he will call out for the talbiyah. So most people would go on to their coaches or cars or whatever. So you board the coach or the car, and then you call the talbiyah, calling Allahumma labbaik hajja. You start the journey of the Hajj. Now, before we go actually to the explanation of how the Hajj is done, I want you to again remember the map of Makkah, which I showed you earlier. That's the boundary of the Makkah, is the Haram of Makkah. This is the sanctuary or the sacred area of the Makkah. And what we want to concentrate is those areas which are what we call Masha'ir al-Hajj, those areas where the Hajj is performed. You can see right in the middle, I don't know if you are able to see, is Masjid al-Haram. Then on the southeast of it are the three other areas, Mina, Muzdalifa and Arafat. Now it is important to note that the Arafat is outside the area of Haram of Makkah. Okay, so those rules which are applicable to the sanctuary of Makkah are not applicable there, which is such as the cutting of a tree. So if you see that's where this is just a zooming in of those particular areas. So all we have that area of the Haram which has the Masjid al-Haram, Mina and Muzdalifa, and some of the Arafat as well on the right hand side lower corner, which of course is outside the Haram of Makkah. So that's Masjid al-Haram. Okay, we zoom out. That's Mina. We zoom out again. Below it is Muzdalifa. We zoom out. And right in the right hand side lower corner, that's Arafat. Okay, and we zoom out again. And we replace it with a different map where we would see the actual rites of Hajj. Just to first familiarize what is in this map. Masjid al-Haram, okay, that's Mina. That's what has just appeared is the Masjid al-Khif, which is the large masjid of Mina. We also have on the left of it the Jamarat, which I want to show you from now on so that you become familiar with what geographically where the Jamarat. This is Jamratul Ula, which is closer to the Masjid al-Khif. Then we have Masjid al-Wusta, Jamratul Wusta, and then Jamratul Aqaba, which is the largest Jamra, which is closest to closer to Masjid al-Haram, to right at the outside the boundary of Mina. Okay, we are coming to a break now. Inshallah, I will go further after the break. Until the break, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. So inshallah, we go further from where we stopped. What I have shown you is part of those areas which are concerned with the performing of the Hajj. So we have reached unto Mina, and you can see the four important things. One is the Masjid al-Khif and the 3 jamarat which are towards the direction of Masjid al-Haram. The smallest one is more towards the direction of Mina, and the largest one is right at the boundary of Mina, where the Mina ends. The next is Muzdalifa, the area just highlighted. You have Masjid al-Mash'ar al-Haram, which is the large masjid in Muzdalifa. One other thing is the area between Muzdalifa and Mina, what has just appeared called Wadi Ma'asir. This is the valley between Muzdalifa and Mina, and these are outside the boundary of both Muzdalifa and Mina. So if one stays in Mina and he slips into this valley, then his stay will be invalid. Whatever is obligatory, such as the staying in the Ayam al-Tashriq, then it would not be valid if he is in this valley. Same is for the Wukuf of Muzdalifa, will not be valid if you are in Wadi Mahasir. Wadi Mahasir is the place where Abraha came and he was destroyed, his army was destroyed here. So it is an area where the punishment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when he passed on the Yawm al-Nahar from Muzdalifa, he was going towards Mina. When he reached the Wadi Mahasir, they said that he moved a little bit faster going through this valley. Next is Arafat, which is right towards the right hand side corner below. Arafat is where you do the Wukuf of Arafat on the Yawm Arafat. You have Masjid Namira. It's very small there, but which is important to appreciate that Masjid Namira is not all of it is in the area of Arafat. The front part of some of the masjid is outside the area of Arafat. That's why Wukuf should not be done in that part of the masjid. Very important point to remember. You have the mount of Arafat, what we call Jabal al-Arafah. Some people call it Jabal al-Rahma. In fact, some very renowned scholars, they wrote this name Jabal al-Rahma in their book. I don't want to mention the names, which is a bit surprising, because there isn't any basis for this specific name to become, because it is not found anywhere in the narrations in the text that this is Jabal al-Rahma. This was the mountain where Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam stood and did the Wukuf of Arafah. It was just a matter that he chose this, and he said that the waqaftu ha huna wa kullu Arafah mawqif. He said that I stand here, but all the Arafah is a place of Wukuf. So nothing special about, except that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam chose that spot. But we'll discuss this issue later. We have another valley here, which is the boundary between Arafah and the remaining area between Muzdalifa and Arafah, and this is Wadi Orna. Wadi Orna is another issue, that it is not part of the Wukuf. That's why Wukuf is invalid in Wadi Orna. That's why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said warfa'u an batn Orna, that move away from the valley of Orna, meaning the bed of this valley. So that's also important landmark to recognize. So these are the areas. Now we go to the actual map, where we slight change here. What you are seeing on the top in the middle is the title. the left hand side, go back. The left hand side yellow area is where the day and date will appear, and at the bottom is the caption area where the rules will be mentioned. Okay, now you know where Masjid al-Haram is, where Mina, Muzdalifa and Arafat are. So we start from, this is Yawm Tarwiyah. This is 8th of Dhul Hijjah. This is when you start the rites of Hajj. You are somewhere near Masjid al-Haram. The blue circle or the smiley face indicates where you are. Though you may be very close to Mina, because people who stay in Aziziyah, for example, they are close to Mina rather than Masjid al-Haram. But wherever you are, this is one scenario we are using. That you are there. This is Yawm Tarwiyah. Sun rises. Okay. When the sun rises, then the time for the rites of Hajj begin. Though this is not obligation, some people think that there is no way you can change this. You can travel in the night before if there is traffic, if there is difficulty, if there is risk that you will not be able to reach Mina, or you can delay. For example, this is the day of Jummah where you are starting the rites of Hajj. So there is nothing wrong with staying in near Masjid al-Haram, praying Salatul Jummah, and then leave for Mina. So going to Mina on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah is a sunnah. This is what is confirmed by the hadith of Jabir radiallahu anhu, what I mentioned earlier, and also other narrations. There he said that when the Yawm Tarwiyah came, then the people, they turned towards Mina and called out the Talbiyah, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also rode out. So in this way you travel to Mina as the sun moves. By the time the sun reaches the Zawal, meaning the time for Dhuhr, you are in Mina. This is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what you would see here is the track the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam followed and the timings he followed. But where I would mention where the variations are allowed and where not. So this is a sunnah. This is why you are seeing in capital in green that this is a sunnah. It is a sunnah to reach Mina and pray Dhuhr prayer and then stay overnight, completing 5 prayers in Mina until the Fajr prayer of the next day, Yawm Arafah. If a person is delayed or he reaches early, inshallah there's no problem if there is a need. But if there is no problem, if there is no necessity to do that, then we should follow the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We should try to do as much as in accordance with what we find out how the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did. So this is the way he did. So you stay the night. Now it is important that I don't want to stick to just the rites of Hajj. You go there, and this is how you finish the Hajj. It's very important that when you are in Mina, because people, they reach, then they start, a big hustle goes on for the beddings, for the pillows, for the food. A person forgets completely why he is there. Then they will start gossiping, then they will look for the food, they will go out, search Mina, where is the boundary, where, whose camp is there, where. So rather, this is not the purpose of you being there. The purpose of you being there is to recite the talbiyah, recite the Quran, do the dhikr, make dua, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because this is the reason you are there. One rule for when you are in Mina is that the prayer is shortened there, but you don't combine the prayer, because this is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did his prayer. So he shortened the prayer, but he did not combine the prayer in Mina at this stage. So this is what you would do, that you would what you are seeing in the caption is that you will shorten the prayer, but you would not combine the prayer. I'm not sure if we show the next slide. Okay. And I said that one should spend the time whilst he is in Mina overnight in doing what is required there, rather than gossiping and wasting time or eating, drinking, because this is the thing which we will spend more. As I said earlier, that the talbiyah should be said all the time, but more especially after the obligatory prayer, when the day begins, when the night starts and the day ends. These are the timings where you say the talbiyah more. So in this way you spend all the afternoon and evening and the night till the next morning appears, and you pray Salatul Fajr. This is Yom Arafah. This is 9th of Dhul Hijjah. This is the day of forgiveness. A lot can be said about these days, but we will restrict to this statement. Inshallah, this is sufficient. That this is truly a day of forgiveness. Sun would rise, then it's the time to leave Mina. Again, this is a sunnah to leave Mina straight after sunrise, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that's what he did. When the sun rose on Yom Arafah, he left for Arafah. So from Mina you travel, what you would see now, to passing Muzdalifa, go straight to Arafah. You reach Arafah by about midday. Once the sun passes the zenith, this is Zawal. When the Zawal occurs, so Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam went to Masjid Namra. He waited there. When the Zawal occurred, then he did a khutbah. And then he prayed Dhuhr and Asr, shortening the prayer and combining them together. There is slight variation in the reports mentioning about how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did this. It is a sunnah to keep the khutbah short and do the prayer at the early time, so that more time is given to the Wukuf, because that is the main issue here, and that is a pillar of the Hajj. So once you've done that, then you start the Wukuf. Now I want to go to the actual explanation of the Wukuf, and inshallah show you how the Wukuf of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was done. Exactly, how he, where he reached, and what he did. So this is the day of Arafah. That's the field of Arafah, the map again. The Prophet ﷺ traveled, and this is Masjid Namira. You can see the Masjid Namira where it will emerge from. That's where it is located. Okay, this is Masjid Namira. Rasulullah ﷺ, when the sun rose on the day, he traveled from Mina and reached Masjid Namira. When he reached near Masjid Namira, he stayed there. When the sun declined from the midline, then he made the khutbah, brief khutbah explaining about the Wukuf. And then Adhan was called, and then he led Dhuhr and Asr prayer, both with 2 rak'ah each, with an iqama before each prayer. And this is the strongest opinion. Though there are opinions that the adhan can be called before the khutbah, or one adhan should be called before each prayer, and they are all okay. If anyone prays in that manner, then inshallah that is acceptable. Some people have this strange idea that if you don't pray with the imam, then you pray full. There is no really basis for that. It is known authentically from Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhu that he missed prayer with the imam, and he prayed on his own, shortening the prayer and combining them. So this is where we find the ruling. So once this is done, then the Prophet ﷺ went to the Mount of Arafah, and this is where Mount of Arafah is, and that's where he started the Wukuf. Now, as I said that the Prophet ﷺ, this is Jabal Arafah or Mount Arafah. Okay. As I said before, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam faced towards the mount, and the reason for that was that this is the direction of the Qibla. Not because he was facing the mountain, rather because he stood behind the mountain and the Qibla was in the direction where the mountain was. So he faced the mountain. He stayed on his camel and he faced the Qibla, and he did the Wukuf on his camel. There is also argument among scholars whether this is better to sit or better to stand, or better to be on a vehicle or on your feet. Really, not everyone can have a car or a coach over there inside. Most people are on feet. This is why the scholar said that if one is on a vehicle, then he should stay inside the vehicle sitting. If a person is on feet, then he should stand and do the wukuf. But if you get tired, then you can sit down and you can recite the Quran or read some useful book or talk something useful. There's nothing wrong with that. Most of the time should be spent in making dua and doing the dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that قَدْ وَقَفْتُ هَا هُنَا وَعَرَفَ كُلَّهَا مَوْقِفٌ. He said that I stand here, but all the Arafah is a place of wukuf. This is why there is no need to struggle and strive and push and shove and travel and make, half kill yourself to reach the mountain and do the wukuf over there, or even to climb on the mountain, because there is no basis for that. People would still go right to the top of it, and they think that they have got some mercy on them by doing that. There's nothing in that. The second thing which I mentioned earlier is that the Prophet ﷺ said, "Kullu Arafat mawqif wa warfa'u an batni warna." That all the Arafah is a place of wukuf, but move away from the valley of the Urna, because that is outside the wukuf area. Now it's all well marked. You know where the boundary is, and one should not go out of that whilst doing the wukuf. The dua what a person should make, and of course any dua you can make, but the dua which is most authentically narrated from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that he said that this was the dua of all the Anbiya before me, and this is the dua on the Ashiyat Arafah. This is the dua of the day of the Arafah, or the afternoon of the Arafah. And he said, La ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, lahul mulk wa lahul hamdu yuhyi wa yumit wa huwa ala kulli shay'in qadir. So this is the dua the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam made in the. So this is what you should say most during the wukuf. Aisha radiallahu anha, she said that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there is no day when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sets more slaves free from the fire than the day of Arafah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes down and looking at the people, says that what is with these people, meaning that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises that these people who have come, they are they are unkempt, they no care about their fanciness or they're looking nice, etc. They're just concerned with the dua and zikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they are busy in that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala praises them in this way and free them from the fire. But the amazing thing what we often see is that people standing in the field of Arafah, they would smoke, they would swear, they would use abusive language. So these are very foolish people, that they've spent 2,000-3,000 pounds, they've gone there, they are in the day which is the day of forgiveness, they are in the place which is the place of most forgiveness, freeing from the fire, and they will do some sinful act, some disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah save us from this. The next thing is that what is important here is to realize that the wukuf of Arafah is a pillar of the Hajj, and this is the second pillar of that. The first one is to enter the ihram, the state of prohibition. Second is the wukuf of Arafah. And the time for the wukuf is important to recognize, because many people don't recognize. This is from the sunrise on the day of Arafah till the Fajr on the next day. Once the Fajr appears, then the time for wukuf is gone. So if any person is delayed or held back, then he has got 24 hours. Any time he would reach and do the wukuf, then inshallah the wukuf is valid. Okay, let's go back. So once the wukuf is done, the sun sets on the day of Arafah. It is a sunnah to combine the day and night in the wukuf. So because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not leave the field of Arafah until the sun actually set and night came, And then the Prophet ﷺ straight away, he left. It is also important that one does the wukuf, when leaves the Muzdalifa, leave with peace. And this is all another issue that one sees, that people would become very restless and uneasy. They are somehow in rush to get onto the coaches, pushing each other, or pushing their luggage on the coaches, etc., which hurts and harms others. And this is something that is not allowed, because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, at the time when they were leaving and they're beating their animal, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told them that there is no righteousness, no piety, laysa al-birra, that there is no piety in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ayyuhan nas alaykumus sakina, فإنه ليس البر بعداء الإبل. So he said that, O people, be calm and dignified, because there is no piety in harming the camel. So in this way you leave Arafah and go to Muzdalifa. And as I said that you wait until the sun sets, night begins, but you do not pray Maghrib. The sunnah is to leave for Muzdalifa at that time, reach Muzdalifa, and then combine the Maghrib and Isha prayer. This is the sunnah. You pray Maghrib full and you shorten the Isha prayer. You pray both with one iqama each. No adhan is called. But if the adhan is called, then there is nothing wrong with that. Inshallah, we will continue in the next session, because now we are reaching the end of the program. I hope that I will complete all the rites of Hajj in the next session, and then in the following session I'll take the questions on the issue of Hajj. This brings us to the close of the program. Sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad. Until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
الحج أشهر معلومات، فمن فرض فيهن الحج فلا رفث ولا فسوق ولا جدال في الحج،